This is about reviving our community. So we wanted the commercial property sector to get a good idea as to what happens in the charity world, and we're trying to link the two groups together. Matt is Legal and General Investment Management, LGIM, Research Strategy and Transition. So I call him the long game guy. So you'll be hearing from him later on. He's responsible for market research, driving strategic operational initiatives, and guiding investment strategy. He's also responsible for research into key thematic areas, including climate transition risk, operational real estate, and emerging alternative markets. Well, the best way to not pay empty rates is to make sure it's not empty. So actually cut a deal, which was the whole idea for this incentive. Cut a deal with a retailer, a leisure operator, whoever it is, go down lower on the rent, give them a rent-free period, support them in some other way if you can. And you're going to hear more from Matt later on with his long game ideas, which is that kind of mindset, and I think it's a good one to have. And then, of course, there is the charity sector where we can try and plug the gap, because charities, the biggest problem they face outside money is space. They can either don't have the space to be able to run the project or any other stuff that comes with it. So if we can help the charity sector who get busier during hard times along that journey, then that's kind of the way to go, really. If you are involved in commercial property or even resi property, a lot of people have a good vision of the long term. And there's one asset manager I've been dealing with recently. They said, being an asset manager is great when something's going smoothly, like when you've got a tenant and the renewals in 10 years' time, it's lovely. But an asset only needs managing when there's a problem. And so that's when the likes of Matt comes in. So in the background, he'll be doing research and thinking about the long game, what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. And he'll have insurance on the back of his mind, flood risk areas, all those sorts of things that you and I see snippets of in the news is what Matt lives and breathes all the time. So Matt, I'm not sure how else to describe you as the long game man, so I'm just going to let you jump in.
Cool.
And do your bit.
I'll take it. I'll take long game man. So yeah, just to, if we pop onto the next slide, I'll give you a bit of background just around Legal in General, who are the company that I work for, and I guess my role within that. And really the focus of this is just to give you a quick case study of how I guess we've taken a slightly different approach to addressing problems around vacant property units, vacant high street units, and probably very much aligned with the view around actually what you said earlier. One of the key solutions to empty property on the high street, rather than playing around with rates relief, etc., is actually to come up with an alternative solution, an alternative use for that space, and something which delivers both ultimately over the long term, hopefully a rental income for a landlord, but also community benefit, improved vibrancy on the high street, etc. So Legal in General, we're an insurer. We're in the part of the business that I work on is investment management. So we ultimately invest on behalf of pretty much, for the most part, pension funds across the UK. So we do have a long-term horizon when we're looking at our investments, typically 10 plus years. So we would describe ourselves as having a kind of patient approach to investment, and we are looking to marry both financial returns with positive, I guess, social and environmental outcomes. We've kind of mentioned before that there are clearly a lot of challenges on the high street that everyone will be aware of. We're very much of the view, and certainly my view, looking at the long term, is that these are structural challenges across the sector. We're not going back to the world that we were in 10, 20 years ago in terms of town centres being dominated by retail. We need to come up with new solutions for our high streets, and we really think the description that you mentioned earlier around asset management is a great job unless you have a problem to sort or whatever it is. That is totally the wrong approach for how we think properties need to be managed going forwards. We think a far more active, intentional approach to how we think about the use of that space, who it's appealing to, is really important. So the example that we have is a shopping centre that we've owned for a number of years, which is located in Poole Town Centre, so the Dolphin Centre. It's, I guess, go back 5 years ago, that was your classic kind of town centre, struggling shopping centre. The only use case that people would go to that shopping centre for was shopping, and it had a lot of the issues that many other landlords or many other town centres faced, in that we were on the brink of probably about a quarter of that shopping centre and town centre more generally being vacant. So it's a real kind of structural issue in that town centre. So our approach was trying to move away from, and our view around where town centres need to go in the future is, we need to move away from retail into more mixed-use spaces. And when we say mixed use, we mean every type of use going, which deals with ultimately or addresses a particular local need. So we're thinking healthcare, we're thinking work, we're thinking leisure, we're thinking schools, whatever it might be. So fast forward, I guess, 5 years, we've been pretty successful with that approach. We're on track for around 40% of the floor space and income within that asset now to be derived from alternative uses. So within the scheme, we've got NHS Diagnostic Hub, we've got a Skills and Learning Centre, we've got our own co-working business that we've set up there. We've got event spaces, focused around free space for charities to highlight what they're doing within the scheme. And then we've got leisure and we've got community all built into it. But really the kind of catalyst for all this kind of great development that we've managed to bring through at the Dolphin has really been an initiative that we did on a stretch of High Street just outside the shopping centre, which was called Kingland Crescent. And if we just flick forward onto the next slide, this was what it looked like back in 2017. So essentially a row of vacant units, ideally being looked at for a long-term development, but fundamentally no longer serving, a traditional retail purpose. Lots of challenges along that high street. If we fast forward to 2021, which is when we launched our initiative on Kingland, so if you don't mind going forwards, don't unfortunately have exactly the like for like, but essentially we've had a real transformation there, and what we've had there is we've given away those 10 shops on that high street away to local independent businesses, all based in the local Dorset area, rent and rates free for 2 years. So that was in April 2021. We had everything from a fishmonger to a coffee roaster to a plant shop, to a social enterprise doing an art gallery space. So all types of different uses, all kind of curated to meet local needs, and so I guess appeal and try and provide a bit of a point of difference which didn't really exist within Poole Town Centre. All kind of branded very garishly, as you will see on the side. So we got lots of constructive feedback from local residents around the kind of pink and black branding, but it definitely made it stand out. And if we fast forward on to the next slide, this just kind of showcases off the back of that initiative that we did, so giving away those shots, rent and rates free, we saw a 16% increase in footfall, we saw dwell time go up. 2 years on, having given those businesses a chance to launch within that high street, 60% of the original brands agreed to a longer term lease with us on a all-inclusive rent-paying basis. So again, going back, rather than us subsidising the rent and rates on a long-term basis, actually, now that those brands have had the time to learn their business, to develop to develop their trade, to mature as businesses, actually they can go on and they can start to pay an affordable rent and rates going forwards. And ultimately, we've created a lot of new jobs off the back of that. So we're obviously very proud of this initiative. We think it's a there's a lot of learnings for us to take forwards, but we think it does show that the problem of vacant units, if you take hopefully a longer term kind of collective approach to thinking about what a future use could be for those types of spaces, then actually you can really revitalise space. And off the back of that, over the past couple of years, then we've started to see these alternative uses start to come through, like the healthcare uses, like the Skills and Learning Centre, like the co-working spaces off the back of that. So it's really been a critical kind of project that we've had in terms of reframing that part of the town centre in the minds of the local population. I'm not a rates expert, but obviously that is a factor, and to be honest, that can be quite a big barrier to doing these types of initiatives, because obviously we were covering those costs for that initial 2 year period.